Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. The place where we talk about trading mindset, discipline and real practical psychology. Guys, have you ever noticed something? That you keep repeating the same trading mistakes again and again? No matter how many strategies you learn, no matter how many videos you watch, you still struggle to stay consistent in your results. Sometimes you perform really well, and other times you make mistakes without any clear reason. And this is where the real problem begins. A problem that most traders never truly understand. The real issue is not your strategy. It's the hidden patterns inside your mind. Patterns that you haven't consciously recognized yet. And that's exactly what today's lesson is going to help you understand. We are continuing our series on the Daily Trading Coach, and today we're starting lesson 14, Keep a Psychological Journal. Now this is not just about writing a normal journal. This is a powerful tool that allows you to look deep inside your own mind. In this chapter, you learn how to track your thoughts, emotions and decisions, how to identify your behavior patterns, and most importantly, how to build such strong self-awareness that you stop trading impulsively and start making disciplined trading decisions. Because until you understand yourself, you will never truly understand the market. So if you want to take your trading to the next level, this lesson can be a complete game changer for you. Steenbarger, the author of the Daily Trading Coach, adopted a very powerful habit early in his trading career. And that habit was keeping a psychological journal. When he started trading, he didn't limit himself to just watching charts. Instead, he began annotating them. Meaning, every time the market made a significant move, like a trend change or a strong breakout, he would carefully study that entire moment. He tried to understand one key thing. What signals was the market giving before that move actually happened? Was there something different in the price behavior? Was there any unusual movement in volume? Or did an indicator give an early hint? Slowly he began to notice something very interesting. There are certain patterns in the market that keep repeating again and again, and this led him to a powerful realization. The market doesn't move suddenly. It gives subtle clues beforehand. And if you can learn to spot those clues, you can stay one step ahead of other traders. Along with this, he also observed which sectors were active and which side of the market was showing more strength. And as he started learning new tools, like market delta, he began to take his journaling to a much deeper level. Now he wasn't just writing observations. He was decoding the hidden patterns behind market behavior. For Steenbarger, this journal was not just a diary. It was a powerful tool that helped him deeply recognize the patterns that kept repeating in the market. Now let's understand this with a simple example. Imagine you are learning a musical instrument, like the guitar. In the beginning, it takes time to recognize each chord, and placing your fingers correctly doesn't feel easy at all. There's confusion, there's struggle. But when you practice every single day, slowly those same chords start becoming second nature. And a point comes where you can play the right tune without even thinking about it. Trading works in exactly the same way. When Dr. Brett consistently started observing market patterns and recording them in detail inside his journal, those patterns slowly got wired into his mind. And then came a stage where he could recognize those patterns in real time. And the moment he gained confidence that these patterns repeat again and again, he started taking action on them. If you break down the entire process, it's actually very simple. First, he observed the patterns. Then, he understood them. After that, he repeatedly tracked and reinforced them. And finally, he started acting on them with confidence. And that's why his journal was no longer just a notebook. It became his first and most powerful mentor. Dr. Brett says, just like we study charts to understand market patterns, in the same way, when we keep a psychological journal, we begin to understand the patterns of our own mind and behavior. In the beginning, it may feel like just another exercise. But over time, that same journal starts revealing your habits. It exposes your emotional triggers. And it brings complete clarity to your decision-making patterns. Steenbarger explains this entire concept in 3 simple parts. 3 types of patterns that every trader must learn to recognize. The first one is behavioral patterns. These are patterns related to your actions. In simple terms, do you react the same way again and again in similar situations? For example, you take a trade and the moment the market moves slightly against you, you panic and exit immediately. That reaction is often driven by fear, and over time, it becomes a behavioral pattern. On the other hand, sometimes when you're in profit, you become greedy. You forget to trail your stop loss at the right time, and slowly that behavior also turns into a repeating pattern. The second type is emotional patterns. These are patterns in how you feel. It's about how your emotions show up again and again in similar situations. For instance, whenever you take a loss, you get frustrated or angry, and without thinking clearly, you jump into another trade too quickly. On the flip side, when you make a good profit, you become overconfident and start taking unnecessary risks. In this way, your emotions keep influencing your decisions and eventually form a pattern. The third type is cognitive patterns. These are patterns related to your thinking. It's about how you think about yourself and your trading. Many traders get stuck in negative thinking. They start believing things like, I can never win, my trades are always wrong, if I didn't make profit this time, maybe I never will. And this kind of thinking slowly pushes them toward overtrading, making their decisions even worse. Now let's understand this with a simple real-life example. Imagine a person who gets nervous before every interview. Because of that nervousness, he starts feeling weak and ends up repeating the same mistakes in almost every interview. But what if, after each interview, he starts writing a small journal? He notes down when he felt nervous, where he got stuck, and which questions he couldn't answer properly. Within a few weeks, his patterns will become crystal clear. And this is exactly how it works in trading. When you start writing your thoughts, emotions, and behavior for every single trade, slowly you begin to see where you keep getting stuck again and again. And once you can see it clearly, only then can you start changing it. And this self-awareness is what slowly transforms you into a better, calmer, and truly confident trader. Brett Steenbarger explains that most trading patterns are actually a combination of three things: our thoughts, our emotions, and our behavior. Whenever we face a market situation, our mind starts thinking in a certain way. We feel a specific emotion, and based on that we take a decision and react. In the beginning, this entire process feels completely normal, because it seems like we are making the right decision according to the situation. But the real problem begins when these three things, our thoughts, emotions, and behavior, start working against us. For example, you took a trade with proper planning and clear analysis. Your setup was perfectly valid. But the moment the market moved slightly against you, fear kicked in. And instead of following your plan, you exited the trade immediately. Now look at another situation. When the market is moving fast, you start feeling FOMO. And without proper confirmation or planning, you jump into a trade. In both cases, your thoughts, emotions, and behavior combine to create decisions that go against your trading plan. And when this keeps repeating, it turns into a pattern. According to Dr. Brett, these are the exact moments where a psychological journal becomes essential. Along with that, certain mental exercises can help you clearly see where you are repeatedly making mistakes and in which situations you tend to break your own rules. And as this awareness starts to develop, you slowly move away from impulsive reactions and begin making disciplined decisions. And this shift is what transforms you from an average trader into someone who is consistently better, more controlled, and truly professional. Brett Steenbarger says that many traders reach a point where they feel very frustrated. They start thinking, maybe I am the problem, maybe I am stopping my own success. But the truth is, this kind of thinking does not solve anything. It only increases guilt and makes you feel even worse. Now let's understand this with a simple example. Imagine a child. When he was young, he used to get scolded every time he made a mistake. So slowly he learned one thing. It's better to hide mistakes. Now that child grows up, but that habit is still inside him. When he works in a team and makes a mistake, he tries to hide it from his manager, because in his mind, that old pattern is still active, the one that once protected him. But now, that same habit is hurting him. It is stopping his growth. Dr. Brett says the same thing happens in trading. Many of us create habits based on our past experiences. At one time, those habits helped us. But in today's market, they start creating problems. So the first step is very simple. Understand your patterns. Find out why you behave this way. Because if you don't know the real reason, you cannot change it. And when this awareness starts growing, you slowly stop reacting emotionally and you start making better, more controlled decisions. And this is the real change. This is what turns you from an average trader into a calm, confident and disciplined trader. Brett Steenbarger gives a very deep example. It helps us understand where our patterns come from and how they affect our decisions. Imagine a child. He grows up in a house where there are fights every day, arguments, tension, and people constantly taking out their anger on each other. In this situation, the child doesn't have many options. So slowly he learns one thing. He starts taking the blame on himself. He feels that if he speaks up or says something, the fight will get worse. So he begins to believe, if I accept the mistake, maybe everything will calm down. At that time, this behavior helps him. It protects him emotionally. But slowly, this becomes a habit. As he grows up, that pattern is still inside him. Now even in normal situations, even in small disagreements, he starts blaming himself without any real reason. To avoid conflict, he takes guilt on himself. From the outside, everything looks calm. But inside, he keeps weakening himself. Now think about this. When this same person starts trading, and a trade goes into loss or the market moves against him, instead of learning from it, he starts blaming himself. He keeps saying negative things like, maybe I'm not good enough, I always make mistakes, I can't do this. And slowly, his confidence drops. His decision-making becomes weak. Dr. Brett says, when you keep repeating trading patterns that are hurting you again and again, it usually means you're repeating your old coping mechanisms. The habits that once protected you are now working against you in today's market. So the most important thing to understand is, the problem is not always the market, and it's not always your strategy. Many times, the real problem is hidden inside your old patterns. And the moment you truly understand this, that's where real transformation begins. Because from that point, you don't just start understanding the market. You start understanding yourself. Brett Steenbarger says, just like he used a trading journal to understand repeating market patterns, in the same way, a psychological journal helps you understand your own patterns. How you think, how you feel, and how you react. And the best part is, it starts with a very simple step, observation. After every trading day, just take a few minutes and ask yourself some honest questions. What did I feel today? When did I feel fear? When did I take a rushed decision? And which emotions influenced my trades? In the beginning, your goal is not to change yourself immediately. Your goal is just one thing, to see your patterns clearly. Because if you can't see something clearly, you can't change it. But when you keep doing this again and again, slowly, a point comes where you start noticing these patterns in real time. And that's where real change begins. This psychological journal creates a new observer inside you. An observer who doesn't judge you, but simply watches you and understands you. This inner observer starts giving you signals at the right time. It tells you right now you are about to take a decision based on emotion. Right now you are repeating your old behavior. The same behavior that has hurt you before. And as this awareness becomes stronger, you slowly move away from impulsive reactions and start making calm, disciplined and emotionally intelligent decisions. Brett Steenbarger shares a very simple and powerful journal format, which you can use on any normal notebook or paper. You don't need any app or any expensive tool. All you need to do is take a blank page and divide it into 3 parts, 3 columns. And each column has a clear purpose. The first column is what happened in the market. Here you only write facts. Just what actually happened, without any judgment. For example, there was a sudden drop, some unexpected news came, or there was a strong breakout at a level. Your focus here is to simply record the situation clearly. The second column is what did you think, feel and do. This is the most important part, because this is where your real patterns start to appear. Here, you write what you were thinking, what emotions you felt, and what action you took. This is the place where your hidden behavior patterns start becoming visible. The third column is what was the result. Here you honestly write what happened because of your decision. Did you take a rushed trade? Did you miss a good opportunity because of fear? Did you break your plan because of anger or frustration? This is where you clearly see the real consequences of your behavior. Dr. Brett says, when you keep writing again and again that a certain thought led to a loss or a certain emotion caused a mistake, your mind slowly becomes aware of these patterns. With time, your inner system starts giving you signals. Don't repeat this again, you've already seen the result. So always remember, the more clearly you see your patterns and the more deeply you understand their impact, the faster you will start catching them in real time. And slowly, you will also develop the ability to change them. In the end, this journal is not just a notebook. It is a powerful tool that reshapes your trading psychology and helps you become a disciplined and aware trader. Brett Steenbarger says, right now your goal should not be to change all your psychological patterns in one day, because the truth is, you cannot change something until you clearly understand it. So in the beginning, your only focus should be on one thing. Notice the patterns that keep repeating again and again and understand their results. This psychological journal gives you that deep awareness, through which you can clearly see which thoughts, which emotions and which habits are pushing you toward losses. And this awareness is the first and most important step of any real change. Dr. Brett strongly suggests, write this journal for at least 30 days continuously, because within these 30 days, you will start seeing many hidden patterns inside you. And the most powerful part of this process is, as you keep journaling, you start developing a new habit, the habit of self-observation. And this itself is a very powerful positive pattern. This habit doesn't just improve your trading, it improves your entire life. You become more aware, more calm, and more in control. So starting today, use this powerful tool and try to understand your inner world with the same depth with which you study charts and indicators. Also remember, pay special attention to the trades where you broke your rules, where your mindset and your emotions stopped you from making the right decision. Go back to those moments, write them in your journal, and try to understand what was going on inside you at that time. Because every time you do this, you develop a new skill, the skill of becoming an internal observer. And once you build this observer, you start recognizing your patterns in real time. And that moment becomes the real beginning of your transformation. That is the real power of psychological journaling. It gives you awareness, and that awareness gives you the power to make better decisions. So guys, this was lesson 14, keep a psychological journal. If you want to become a consistent and disciplined trader, this tool can become your biggest strength. If you found this video valuable, make sure to like it, share it with your trader friends, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now so you don't miss the next lesson from the Daily Trading Coach. And always remember, your breakout is coming. You just need to start understanding yourself.